FME enthusiasts, welcome to Attention Undivided. We're here yet again. And this time, super excited. We have one of the great duos of 2021. We're talking about, I just thought of a nickname for, well, King Micah The Infamous doesn't need a nickname. That has it all right there. He's the MC. The casual confidence of the coolest kid in school. Mighty Healthy, the producer, I'd like to just start referring to as the unfair advantage. There's some producers, like I've definitely talked to some producers and been like, did you have trouble getting people to rap on this beat? It's so unorthodox. With Mighty Healthy beats, I always feel like, were people fighting in the streets over these beats? Like, I wish I'd solve a lot of Maine. I'm in Maine. I could solve a lot of Maine's rap problems by getting people in touch with Mighty Healthy. But
appreciate that, man.
It's the unfair advantage. It's just beautiful. So King Mighty 2, I've been living with this album for probably, and because I've listened to it for a while, but like living with it for like 2 weeks. And
nice.
So it just kind of became like I listen to a lot of music. It kind of became the album I sneak in once I'm done. I have the albums I need to listen to. I'm done. I'm like, all right, King Mighty 2. Boom.
And, that's perfect.
This week on the State of the Game, you must have saw a clip there. We had to talk Pray for Haiti, Mac Hami. Navy Blue came out with the new Navy's Reprise. I really enjoyed it. I was like, there's got to be a third album that can hang with these albums, because you can't just have like, and then this one. So King Mighty 2 was the perfect the album to throw in the midst of that group. And it was wonderful. So, I mean, I just wanted to talk to you because a lot of people are discovering your work through King Mighty 2. And when I listened to King Mighty 1, I was even more excited to talk to you about it. Talk to me about how King Mighty happened.
King Mighty started off, it was like my birthday weekend out in Miami. And my wife, who was my fiance at the time, she surprised me to this like producer meetup and everything hosted by Illmind. And when I was playing my music, I was playing my music so everybody can feel my stuff and everything like that. And I was, the work that I had like before was pretty good, but when I heard Mighty Healthy, he was like one of the producers that I was like, okay, this is why I'm here. So I can work with people like him,
Mm-hmm. And likewise, when I was there, Micah was one of the only ones that I've heard. And I'm like, okay, I need to work with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. By the way, I don't think I introduced myself. I'm Dan O, the host of this thing. I'm saving up money to buy out the bar for Jihad Scorsese. That's my financial goal.
Peace.
So
peace.
It's interesting. So Michael, when you heard Mighty Healthy for the first time, you were like, this is it. This is what I need.
Yeah. Because like when he played this beat called Marvelous, mm-hmm. and everything, and I felt like me, like, because I make beats as well, you know what I'm saying, but to hear like what he was doing, you know what I'm saying, at the gate, and then like just Mighty Healthy make the type of beats that make any real rapper start rapping once the beat is playing, you know what I'm saying? And so like when he was playing that and everything like that, I came up with like 4 bars in my head. I'm like, yo, I got to work with this guy. You know what I'm saying? Because like it was a lot of other dope acts, but nobody like moved my mind to start making rhymes. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, I was like, okay, this got to happen. This is why I'm here. You know?
No, that's awesome, and it's interesting because there's so many different sounds around. There's so many different producers kind of doing their version of a classic kind of boom bap feel,
Right.
at different tempos, at different ranges. There's like that Apollo Brown mid tempo of it, but Mighty Healthy is the ratcheted up, like it's time to test your car speakers, like version, right?
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Yep.
That's awesome.
I could say that, and I can also say that, you know, Mighty Healthy works in a space where he doesn't really do like the typical boom bap stuff as far as like his production goes, and it's like, you know, he could put like I like he gives me a challenge every time when I write to his beats, because it's like, okay, how can I get these bars off? How can I get this, you know, this delivery off in a different format than last time? You know what I'm saying? So it was, yeah, I can attest to that.
One of the things we talked about was how important the intro is on King Mighty 2, because it establishes kind of the dynamic. The first, King Micah being so confident in himself that he can talk about the beat over the beat. and just go full fourth wall, just, you know, hey, here's where I was thinking, here's where's my head, and like nobody could pull that off. That's like something that's hard to pull off without sounding silly. But a minute 25 in, that's when like the drum stampede happens and really falls, and you're like, holy shit, that's the Mighty Healthy muscle.
Right.
Yes,
that
sir.
Was like oh, I'm sorry, Mighty, you want to go?
No, you're not good. I like letting the rapper talk.
Oh. So the intro was like the beginning of the intro was like my honest thoughts about the song, like the beginning portion of the song. Because like we've done a lot of like, we had like a lot of tracks in prior for me to finish out the intro, and I'm like, okay, why am I not getting the intro off? You know what I'm saying? Why am I not getting the rhymes off or whatever like that? You know, and for me, it's sometimes a thin line between being like creative and honest. And I was just honest with myself, like, yo, this beat sounds so fucking happy. That's why I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, like, I've been spending like countless hours trying to figure out how to be happy on a beat when I'm not happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it was just like, I'm just ready to punch somebody, you know, off the irritation of me trying to write this, you know? So.
And it was funny because that beat was that was one of the first beats I did for this project. And you know, I already kind of had a vision of how I wanted the next project to sound. And I'm like, okay, I want it to be like, oh, he's driving off, and then the last project is playing, and then like some happy shit comes out of nowhere, then it completely changes up. And yeah, like that. I think that beat I had done last April. So that was like one of the first things I put together for it.
That's awesome. No, it was, honesty in art is really important and really misunderstood, right? Because there's like a sense that you need to keep it real, and you need to just, you know, everything you say you live. And I don't think it has to be that way. I don't think it has to live in the real world. It has to live in the world you create.
Exactly.
Right? So you create a world, everything has to fit within that world you create. So like that intro is important because King Mighty 2 is way too hostile for you to not have said what you said in the beginning of that intro.
Right. I feel like without that, you know, it wouldn't set the actual theme of the entire album, because like from that point it was just like it's going, you know what I'm saying? It's a like the world as you was describing, you know, it's the same world that we were trying to explain per track, you know.
Yeah. And as I posted on Instagram video, I wouldn't know about this album without Madam Money. So shout out to Madam Money. You know, Madam Money with the glowing
Shout out to Madam
review.
Money.
And then you popping and being like, this is one of the great rap sequels of all time. And I was like, all right, I can't just not listen to this. Like, I've got to weigh in at this point. And when I saw the track listing, I was mad at my timeline. I said, there's only 3 guest features, only 3 tracks on this that have guest features, and 2 of them are Elzhi and Guilty fucking Simpson. How is no one telling me about this? How, you know, that's insane. These people don't show up for everybody.
Right.
They don't.
No.
Right.
It was so it's been a great journey with it, and I was going to talk to you first because yes, King Mighty 1 is totally different, and it has really kind of peaceful songs on it. Good Day, Why. It has these kind of reflective, very relaxed songs on it, and I was so happy for both of you having heard the difference between the two, because you didn't just make a great album that sounds great, because if you make a great album and then another great album that still sounds like the first album, they're not going to really care about the second one that much. It doesn't have its own personality.
Exactly.
Right.
You hit it on the head. That was the theme for this whole project. You know, we wanted a project with identity, because a lot of acts in our space, they don't think of that. They just think, okay, we'll get these beats, we'll get this guy to rap on it, we'll get the album cover that looks like a tarot card, we'll just keep doing the same thing. And it's just like there's just a lack of identity. And that's something that was the theme for this whole project. Like, what statement are we trying to make? You know, how should we blow the first project out the water? You know, because we could have very well kept doing the first project, but why? You know,
it would have been boring.
Yeah,
it would have been boring. You know, I feel like our motivation was to like, okay, we don't want to do another Good Day. We already have that. We don't want to do another just tracks from the original album. You know, like, you know how certain sequels like come off with like reminiscence of the first one if it does well. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to do something completely left field and out of this world. You know what I'm saying? And that was both in our minds and our hearts in creating King Mighty 2.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, and even the themes that carry over evolve, right? Turtles Pace 1 to Turtles Pace 2 is a different rumination, I guess. So talk to me about the importance of the Turtles Pace metaphor.
I feel that for any independent artist, you know, it is for me, you know what I'm saying, it is a race, you know, and I feel that the rabbit is like the commercial, the mainstream personification of that. And the turtle is just the artist that's, you know, that is an artist, but is kind of like running his own race at his own speed, which is perceived to be slow. Right. You know, I feel that in the long run, I'm going to beat that rabbit. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like talent speaks for itself at the end of the day. Actual talent, you know, and I feel that the gimmicks, the imagery and everything like that fades within time, you know, and I feel that in order to maintain that status at that, you know, rabbit level, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna have to continue to do shit that is compromising yourself, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that all, all like record labels or anything like that is like the rabbit or anything like that. But what I'm saying is that the integrity to do your own shit and be liberated in that, you know what I'm saying? It's more so you running your own race, and you know that it may not be as fast as other people, and it may not be, and it's not for the instant gratification.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just for yourself, you know what I'm saying, because you love it, and the wins are gonna come, you know what I'm saying? And like the child story goes or whatever like that, the tortoise end up winning, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like to have, Guilty Simpson and Elzhi co-sign the album, to have, people, hip hop legends that I'm a fan of, like Keith Murray, you know what I'm saying, reach out and everything like that. And then like the people within like the hip hop community, the independent community, and some of the mainstream folks, just reach out and show love to that. You know what I'm saying? For me, that is the success, that is the wins and everything, on top of, the all the other dope shit that come with it,
Yeah. No, Mighty Healthy, what did you, when crafting the Turtles Pace 2, what did you want the sound to be different? How did you want the sound to be different so that it wouldn't get mistaken for the first one at all?
Well, that's a good question. With the Turtles Pace 1 and 2, I feel like those are Micah's introspective joints. And so my job is just find the things that sound like that. And the sample I found with it was dope. And for me, I just feel like for Turtles Pace, like it just feels like, just as long as the drums crack and like it just sounds something that he could open up and be introspective on, and that's what it's all about for me from crafting that.
Yeah. I mean, to add on to that, on top of what I mentioned, I also like applied that, the Turtles Pace as in the sense of like, it's not only just me, it's bigger than me, you know what I'm saying? Like other society issues that is going at a Turtles Pace, you know what I'm saying? So, what Mighty Healthy said is true, you know what I'm saying? It is like a track where I just zone out and like just speak what's on my mind. I mean, I do that on every other record or whatever like that, but it's just more so like you get more of that. You get the conclusion of that.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, as a writer, short stories, plays, all this weird stuff that I used to do. When people would be like, what are you going to do? Are you going to get big doing this? I would always think about Franz Kafka, that like Franz Kafka was just the nutty person in his town. Like he wasn't, and then he died and his family published his work and he's like huge over time, right?
Right.
But over time, he never got to see or enjoy. And that's like a normal story. A lot of the biggest writers that you were taught in English class, they ended up like working at a bus station or something, just like until they died. But that's just what it is, because you never know. You got to work for the work.
Right.
And that's there's a big part of the theme that's about that, and about how hard it is to stay centered doing good work when other people are kind of cheating their way up the ladder with tricks and all that stuff. So to follow up on the Turtles Pace question, this was something we talked about in our discussion of the album, right? Because KM2 is the kind of album where the more you listen to it, the more you pick up.
Right.
The more like connective, lines that pay off, but also connect to other lines that pay off and start to build motifs. So do you consider KM2 not conceptual, partially conceptual, or sneaky conceptual?
Ooh, I'm gonna let Mighty Healthy answer that. That's a good question, and then I'm gonna answer after him.
It's conceptual without being conceptual. Like it feels conceptual, you know. There feels like it feels immersive. It feels there's a world. If you know, it has it evokes all these emotions, but it's like we're not really telling a story or anything, but it feels like that, and that's what I wanted to do on the beat side.
Awesome. And there's some like Dose is that like the 1 minute track with the Joe Budden audio clipped into it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, you are really good at like cutting the stuff up and ordering it in a way that does lead the story. And I greatly appreciate that. What were you going to say, King Michael?
I feel like due to Mighty Healthy's randomness or whatever, it really strengthened, like it really sharpened me up as far as like, because I'm a rapper. I can't rap without substance. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like more so like per track, I was building a world within worlds, you know what I'm saying? From, you know, based off like true moments, true experiences and everything like that. And then creating these worlds within it. So how Mighty Healthy described his thought process of just like making like gumbo or whatever like that. My lyrics can be perceived as just like the specific spices that make the gumbo like spicy, delicious, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I like it's just two different workflows that just make fucking sense at the end of the day. And it's like it worked on the first one, but I feel like we both can attest the first one was kind of introductory, you know what I'm saying? Right. It was really awesome for what it was, but it was super introductory compared to, you know, us like really grinding it out, you know what I'm saying? Like constantly over the phone, talking about like beats, song structures, ideas, you know what I'm saying? Like just shooting ideas to each other. It was a few like things that I was like, yo, this should go on here. And then the next day, Mighty Healthy will put it on there. Perfect, you know, like I can't teach somebody how to be a producer, but I can appreciate the fact that when I talk to Mighty Healthy about the things that I feel like how it should like blend in, when he receives it well, he executed flawlessly. So yeah, it's just, for me, it's just a world within worlds. Like I'm big on creative writing and everything like that. So it's just more so like I just like to, you know, give you the sneaky gems, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, like on the Kyle Kim verse, I'm a clumsy jeweler that dropped gems, you know what I'm saying? and that's what it is, you know. It's just me being infamously dope, you know, as far as with my pen, because I can work it, you know, no matter the circumstance.
And Mighty Healthy, there's like an organizational confidence in the way Micah writes, where he never sounds shaken. Is it fun to give him a really weird beat to test that on? Like, I was listening to Embellishment and thinking about that as one that gets like on Mighty Healthy one of just like, man, this is an interesting. You turn it up and then put it against his confidence, and it's how fun is that process for you trying to throw loops at him?
Micah's giggling because it's so much fun. It's so much fun because prior to this, Eddie can answer this too. Like he wasn't making stuff like this at all. Like Micah's a good songwriter, so you know it's structure. There's hooks. There's you know, there's concepts, and he's very good at them. And so because I know he's good at them, I don't want him to do that. so I'm like, okay, I know that you're comfortable in kind of the Apollo Brown, like kind of mellowed out kind of world. Let's not do that. Let's do the opposite. Let's get it. Like let's test the BPMs. Let's get aggressive. Let's try different things. Let's break structure. Like like I don't think there was only I think throughout this entire project there was only one song with a hook on it.
Oh yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say there's only two that are over 3 minutes.
Yeah, and two that are over 3 minutes, you know.
Right.
And to me that's fun to me. That's fun when an artist knows how to break structure and doesn't want to follow rules.
Yeah. You
Yeah, facts.
you don't realize that the Elzai song is only 2 minutes. You're just like, what? You know, because it feels like a full song. Like that is you're getting a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, well I consider KM2 a statement album. This is like something to me that has a real definition to it. Like I don't throw out the term lightly. Statement album is kind of like you know, the latest one I talked about this was Midnight Express with Scorsese, Lord Jones, which the way he raps on that is like, this is my moment and it's happening or fuck it, you know, and he's just like going for broke. And it's the way Jay rapped on Reasonable Doubt that he never rapped like again, right? Like this is going to be my testament. King Mighty 2 feels that urgent to me. Is that me putting that on you, or is that real?
I feel I feel like it's really unbiased for you to say that. You know what I'm saying? I feel that to a certain extent, I feel that way too. You know, after because like after we completed the album and we released it a weekend, we was both like, oh shit. like like wow, you know what I'm saying? Like due to the reaction, because it went nuclear. You know what I'm saying? We knew it was good. We knew it was a great album, you know, going in. But you don't really see how great it is until people just start like being drawn to it. Like, what is this? You know? I feel like this is our what in the fuck moment. Like, what the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? Who the fuck is this?
Right.
You know, and I could see how, you know, some people be in the game, you know what I'm saying? Like some producers be in the game for longest, you know what I'm saying? And then like hear this album and be like, who the fuck are these guys? You know, I'm not, for me it's just me at performing at a level that I've always wanted to perform in, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like Mighty Healthy is performing at his best. But we both have this like this competitive nature of like, okay, we have to do better. My bad, y'all. We have to do better, you know what I'm saying, than this, you know what I'm saying? So it's just a balance, you know what I mean, between like knowing that it's the shit and then like knowing that we still have more to go, you know?
Yeah, I would say to sum it up, we just knew we were doing this time. You know, King Mighty was the first, because I haven't been doing this for long. King Mighty is the first project I've ever done with another person. And I feel doing that and then now coming back, I feel like now we actually know what we're doing. I mean, you know, Mike has been doing this longer than I have, so he probably has a better idea, but this project felt like, okay, there's two people that really know what they're doing now. Now the chemistry is even more there. You know, they're and quite honestly, you know, our skill sets have improved since. So there's definitely that feeling of urgency.
Yeah, no, it's weird, and that's kind of, it's like a little bit of an underground hip hop advantage. I was thinking about this. We talk about Rabbit versus Turtle's pace, right? There's so many times when, and I'm going to use a specific example, but Nas and Hit Boy do an album, King's Disease, together, and people are like arguing about it. Is this good? It's great. It's terrible. And my first reaction, because I'm a creative person, so I'm seeing it from the creative perspective, and I'm like, I don't know if it's great, but they're having so much fun, and they should do another one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, this
Yeah.
may not be the one, but what if their next one is so much better because their chemistry's improved, because they know each other better, because the relationship builds. What if Gangstar had blown up to the point where they couldn't book each other, right? They couldn't be in the same room because they were living together as like roommates, Guru and Primo. They could just do it all day. And so the albums feel that way. And yeah, you're right. The first time, and this is the same with like Run the Jewels, whatever you want to list, that first album is just going to be like, this is so much fun, isn't it? Like a honeymoon period. And the second album is definitely like, crack your knuckles, let's go. We're building something here. So I'm glad you saw it that way. Mighty Healthy. One of the reactions from my co-host, K Diggy, shout out K Diggy, he said Babylon 5 is the best posse track of the year. Loves it. And it got me thinking of just the high quality of the guest verses on this album. There's only a few, right? But they're so high quality. Do you have a favorite guest verse that you got in and you were like, this is amazing?
I'll let the rapper go first.
All right. So to be completely honest, I wasn't really on board with a posse cut in the beginning, So I'm gonna just admit that before Mighty Healthy start talking. I wasn't initially first on board with a posse cut, but then when Josiah the Gift came on, I heard his verse. I'm like, okay, cool. And then Cannons came on right after him. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, dope. You know what I'm saying? So like, as Mighty Healthy was just stubborn about the whole thing, by the way, because like he was like, you sure you don't want this posse cut? You sure? So like as it was building, he got Alex in there, and then Tetris in there, you know what I'm saying? And then like it was just the collection of them, all together, let me just say this, like each person, you know what I'm saying, that rapped on that beat, if it was like one of their solo projects, it would still be as good as Babylon 5, in my humble opinion. You know what I'm saying? But of the fact that all four of them got on board, you know what I'm saying, and effortlessly killed it. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, all right, man, you got me, Mighty Healthy. Let me kill this shit. You know what I'm saying? So it was just more so like it was something that I at first I was initially on board, but it just warmed up to me because like of how they were like executed. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome. Talk to me, Mighty Healthy, about this process of acceptance.
In general, Micah was not aware of any features until the songs happened.
Wow.
So Guilty Simpson was one of the first tracks we did, and it was I didn't tell him anything. It was so because before we started the project, we're like, yeah, maybe we should probably get some guest features, maybe to shake it up a little bit. We're like, yo, who would you think would make sense? And we'd write up names like, okay, that makes sense. That can make sense too. And then so Guilty was the first one, and he didn't know that I reached out or did anything.
Wow.
And it was like, oh, here you go. Have a nice day.
Yes.
And that's how it was too. Like, and when he said like, yo, we should do a posse record, the reason why I wasn't on board with it because I didn't know who would be on it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, me being, Mr. Rapper, man, I'm like, I don't know, G. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's all going to be on it, And, so that dynamic was there.
Man, I have to tell you, King Micah, we on Twitter, shout out the timeline. There's a lovely Canadian man, Rohan Petra, who runs this rap music plug podcast. We're talking about Detroit hip hop and how important Detroit hip hop is to hip hop. Like when Detroit's up, we're all up. We're all feeling great. And he said he fell in love with Detroit hip hop through Kelly Chris. He's younger. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I've been going nuts for Detroit hip hop since Guilty Simpson. So, like, he is literally the first name I think of when you say Detroit hip hop. He is the frame of reference point for me. Like, he's just kind of the mascot, heart of the region kind of individual.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because he's tough as nails, but creative, gone in so many different directions, and just sounds comfortable everywhere. And he sounded beautiful on this. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. I admire Guilty so much, man, because his voice and his delivery is like colossal. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
So when Mighty Healthy gave me Hot in Here, and mind you, you know what I'm saying, I'm in the blind with who's, the beat and everything and who's on the beat. But when I heard him like warm up, I'm like, oh shit, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, cause you can hear like Godzilla stumping, you know what I'm saying? Like when he was approaching the beat, and that's what you get when you get from, a legend like him, So shout out to Guilty, man.
Unbelievable. Just like somebody who, there was a website for a while called The Dirty Mitten that was dedicated to Detroit hip hop. And I was just like, Guilty. Like, he was the kind of figurehead for me of what that sound was. Mighty Healthy, in terms of Babylon 5, I was also thinking, because like my first level of understanding of hip hop was just like bars, who's spitting bars? And as I get older, I start to realize like there's a real importance to the texture of voices and mixing the texture of voices together. And I think that might be the secret sauce that puts Babylon 5 over the top, is the pure mixture of these different voices.
Yes. Yeah, that the voices, as a producer, you have to understand that the MC is the final instrument, and your job is to complement that voice. And that's partly why I reached out who I reached out to. And like I just felt like that combination of voices and then Micah's voice matches perfectly with that song.
Right. The organizational confidence of Micah, and then you have Alex Ludovico, who sounds like a DC animated series Justice League villain. Like they're gonna have trouble. Ludovico's.
Yep.
It's and he's on a run this year too. Shout out to everybody on that. And so yeah, this is good. So KM2 sounds timeless. It sounds like an album you could drop anywhere in time and it would chart, Do you have any did you have any albums in mind as sonic ancestors, as inspirations for where you wanted to go?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Listen, man, like Madvillain, J-Lib, every project I make playlists. This would be before the project starts and throughout the project of just like what I'm trying to go for. So like I listen to everything, many genres, but as far as the rap side, like I wanted to beat Madvillain. Like in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna beat this shit. Like, so it was just like, very Doom heavy, very Wu-Tang heavy. I was listening to Iron Man a lot. Like I was just, so just all of that world,
Yeah,
because like
I felt like Supreme Clientele got like a lot of the dominant shine, but a lot of people have gone back to Iron Man and it's beautiful. It's like perfect.
Iron Man is so good because I truly feel it's RZA's best produced album, because he was just firing on all cylinders the entire project. you know.
Yeah, and every bar is unbelievable. Like everyone's bringing their best work to it. Yeah, it's a time that you can't replicate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. And Doom, it makes sense, especially with Madvillain was the album with like Meat Grinder and these kind of short cuts with a lot of punch to them that lead into the other cuts, and it becomes a cohesive thing in vignettes, and that's kind of what happened, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where pretty much I got most of my influences from, was from the Madvillain album, because like I wanted it to be like, no matter how long or no matter how short it is, you still get filled up from it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's still like I wanted the song to be like, it doesn't matter how long or short it is. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, just listening to see how like MF Doom did it, in Madvillainy and Operation Doomsday. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, and I'm always like, I've been a big MF Doom fan, but I've like was rocking him hard when he passed and everything like that. So it was just like more so like being influenced by it, and then also the Wu-Tang aspects too, like Raekwon, only built for Cuban links, was my thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so it was just, yeah, those were the two albums I was rocking heavy.
And it's weird, people don't. I was always a Raekwon guy. I was always Raekwon first. And famously, people make fun of that. I still have a place in my heart for Immobilarity. I still keep it right here. And but people don't realize he wasn't the guy at that point. Like everybody kind of picked their teams on Wu-Tang, and there were a lot of people like Method Man's the best rapper alive. There were a lot of people who thought RZA was the best rapper in the crew. His delivery was incredible. So
that was the thing about Wu-Tang. Like they had both commercial success and street success. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like Method Man was the most, successful commercially. You know what I mean? RZA even said it himself. Like he had he was like a thugged out pretty boy. So he put him on songs with Mary J. Blige and shit like that,
Yep.
But when it came to like, the hood rocking, you know what I'm saying? It was like it was Iron Man, only built for Cuban links, as far as back as I remember, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, to Cal album, as well, but more so just, like RZA knew what he was doing as far as like putting each member, making sure each member get the light they deserve. And that's similar to what Mighty Healthy does.
Yep.
And to also add on to the original question of Sonic ancestors, it was very important for me to have a sequel that was better than the first one. And although the sequel I'm about to mention is not better than the first one, I truly feel that Cuban Links 2 was it's incredible. Like
yes.
It's not the first one,
right?
But it's like I always thought it's like the Godfather 1 and 2 of hip hop.
Yep. Pyrex Vision, and like so few people could have kept that album in their pocket for like, what did he do? Like 8 years or something? Was he working on that for like 8 years? He had it like in his pocket for like 8 years. And he's like, it's coming out. And everybody's like, this is going to be the worst. If it does come out, it's going to be the worst because you've had it in your pocket for 8 years. And he was just stashing gems. And like, that's just so hard to do. There's so much patience involved. Raekwon's just a pure artist. In that sense.
Like, even, shameless plug, I sent them a pack for the third one. So we'll see what happens. I don't know, but like House of Flying Daggers, 10 Bricks,
Yep. Everything. I mean, and by the way, J-Lib, wanted to talk about J-Lib for a second because when I first heard Champion Sound, I was like, what is this? Because I wasn't ready for it. They were making a fun album. They wanted to have a fun, up-tempo album. The band, like, they didn't want to make, the kind of Criterion Collection hip hop, like, puffed up thing. They were like, no, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
And that energy is definitely in the production of King Mighty too. We're definitely rocking. There's no question.
Right. It's like it wouldn't be as ill as it was if we weren't having fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, as Mighty Healthy threw monkey wrenches to my once songwriting patterns and everything like that. If I didn't find it as a challenge, I wouldn't, it wouldn't be as good. You know what I'm saying? And that's where kind of like the fearlessness came from, as far as like my delivery towards it. Like, it was just like, yo, Mighty Healthy, I can kill this shit, doesn't matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, like, yeah, it was just like, just the premise of just having fun, enjoying what you do, is what created this,
Yeah, it seems to be about like finding validity in it being well done.
Mm-hmm.
Well done work. Uh, when somebody would say like, when are you going to get big doing this? When are you get big doing this? Sometimes you would say, hey, somewhere there's someone playing a piano in their house beautifully,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not doing it to sell records. They're just really good at the piano, and that's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, doing it well counts. It really
Facts.
does. And that's what's been hard, because there has been kind of a stage set publicly where it is, it's kind of converted into the MTV's hottest MCs list that they put together every year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're always totally wrong. Like,
It's insane.
everyone's opinion is bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an insane list, because it's like, this person's Twitter presence was on fire
Mm-hmm.
this year, or their Instagrams, or they broke up in public, or it's just,
And they can't rap for damn, if I'm gonna be just completely honest.
Yeah.
Like, can't rap for shit. And that's kind of like, I used to allow that to frustrate me. You know what I'm saying? I used to allow that to like make me feel like, it's pointless or whatever like that. But just getting back to the fun of just being completely unapologetically gifted or talented. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, and I know it's going to be like bruised egos or whatever like that with, for those who feel like they're talented but not as, but it's just, I don't think about that, because again, I'm running my own race. You know what I mean? And like, I like, if I say I don't like it, it's not because I'm a hater. It's just that, it's not good, in my opinion. But then again, it's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, at my day job at work, people would say, do you think you're like the best on the team, or and I would say, this shit is tennis. It's me versus the work.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. Like, I'm improving and getting better at me.
Facts.
And the fact that I work harder than you doesn't validate or invalidate me.
Right. And the reason why I'm still going is because I enjoy the shit,
Yep. And if you don't have personal standards of achievement, then you are subject to everybody else's standards.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So glad to see that this was definitely about that, and about having the strength of conviction of that. Leading to, this is the question right here. If you could add one attribute to popular rap music, what would it be?
For me, it's lyrics. For me, it's not just lyrics, but like substance. You know, I feel that popular rap follow like the cliches. One of them is like rappers using like really used, worn out bars. One of the bars that I really do not like is when a rapper say, "I kick it like judo."
Ooh, that happens a
I
lot.
mean,
That happens
it
a
happens
lot.
a lot. It happens a lot, but like if you know anything about the martial art, it's about like submission, throws, and grappling. You know, it has nothing to do with kicks. So that's like for me in my mind, I
It's so
cringe
real.
at that. Like, yo, I like when a rapper be like, "I kick it like judo." I just like cut this shit off, bro. You don't know what he's talking about. You don't know what the fuck he's talking about. You know,
That's
but yeah, I would remove overly used recycled bars.
awesome. Yeah, and
It
attention.
was the kick it like judo part was cool for Biggie, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's not cool for everybody else.
Mhm.
I would add myself.
Boom.
I would
Good
add
attribute.
myself.
Nice.
Because the thing is, a lot of these guys are talented, but for some reason, like, you know, they're just doing what works. But like, you know, I was in another interview, like, who would you work with? And like I said, Drake. And, you know, he sees like, oh, why? But I'm just like, you know, I would love to see that juxtaposition. Like, same thing with Micah, just like this kind of smooth delivery, but just like over that kind of production. So it's just like, I would have no problem going into that world, but still sounding like myself.
And that's a huge, I mean, that must be a huge problem on a Drake level is once you're Drake, people send you Drake type beats.
Facts.
And people are like, and you become like, I started to see a little bit locally. I was close enough to see a little bit of it. I was in the poetry scene. I got to see people kind of get local famous a little bit and how it changed the crew dynamics and the entourage changed. And, you know, I'd be talking to them like, I'm the last friend you've got that can talk shit to you. Like,
I kind of
brother,
like Mighty Healthy's question because like while I was like trying to take away, remove something, he was just like, I'll just include myself. And yeah, I agree to that point. I agree to that point because if I do include myself, that will then remove the overly used recycled bars.
you got it.
Exactly.
Got
You
it.
kick it like taekwondo.
Whoa. A lot of
Right.
striking in Taekwondo.
Facts. A lot of striking.
Yep. Yep. No, my first thought was like clarity of mission. You know, that if I could give pop rap something, I'd want everybody to know what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like they do. A lot of
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a lot of, you know, it's just a lot. It's how do I say this? It's just, I don't know, it's just recycling samples. Or Micah said recycling bars.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, it's fun. It's fun to listen to. Like, I'm out, like I don't want to hear me when I go out. Like, you know, I want to hear what's fun.
right.
But you know, there's not as much pushing the envelope. It's a lot of staying safe.
It's a lot of safe things out there. That's the problem. It's a lot of people doing it to be safe because that is what's securing their bag. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, it is something wrong with that
Yeah,
because
it's wrong because it becomes forgettable. Like it's dope today, it's dope next week, but a couple months down the line, they're like, oh yeah, I forgot that guy did drop that one time.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. No,
Like an artist.
Well, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No,
Like an
go.
artist will come out with like something that's like phenomenal, right? You know what I'm saying? For like their beginning single. And then like the next year to come, they will still make variations of that. And that's what makes it annoying, you know? And like you don't see the evolution. You just see somebody that's just working the system as best as they can. And part of it is due to like the shitty deals that they may have gotten off the label, you know? So it's just a lot of shit that encompasses that.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, there's a lot of bad actors in that stuff, but I remember having these discussions with friends where they were like, "Hey, this Panda song, this is what you got to do to make it big," and I
Mhm.
was like, "But, buddy, this guy's gonna be gone in like 2 years. Like, nobody, nobody's invested in this individual. Nobody's invested in his growth. You know,
Yeah.
um, and what gone. Like, there's it's if you are this is like the album versus single debate of like if you live off singles, that's a hard way to live.
Very tough.
It
Very
it
tough.
it does depend. There is a strategy for it. But but if you're the kind of person that makes kind of just this fleeting here today, gone tomorrow music, yeah, it's difficult. But I do think, and I think that's what I'm going to be experimenting with in the future. It's like there is a happy medium. There is a way to put out, because nowadays these algorithms and stuff, it's really more catered towards singles, and so that's why they do it.
Right.
But then it's a matter of, okay, let's make things that'll stay on these playlists and not in one ear out the other.
And yes, I mean singles. We were talking about it the other way because now there's also we talked about there's like a huge divide between popular rap music and underground rap music, and so now I know a
Right.
ton of artists who are incredibly talented, but at making albums that don't have like singles on them, right? That don't have standout bangable tracks, and a standout track like that, a hit can kind of give a condensed greeting, right? Of like, here's who I am in this one song. I don't know why this was one that comes to mind, but "Oh Boy" by Cameron, like
Yeah.
that's Cameron, right? Like that
And
started bang.
honestly, it's like it's not really, if you listen to like "Oh Boy" and everything and the lyrics and everything, it's not really a single. It's like it's just it's a regular, I mean, it's a track, you know what I'm saying, that makes sense to be pushed out because of the beat itself.
Right.
But they talking greasy on that,
Yes.
and that's one of my favorite tracks off the
Love it.
album, you
Yep.
know. But like, it's catchy, you know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people today, a lot of not only just artists, but a lot of industry folks, you know what I'm saying, today focus on. As long as it's catchy, you know, and it sounds like the kids can sing to it, they'll push that shit out, you
And
know?
and
Yeah.
and to add to this, there is a divide, and one of my goals is to kind of fix that, because on one hand you have people that can make great projects, but there's no memorable, like, it's a great project, like, okay, this is cool, but there's no, like, it's almost like a lot of people forgot how to make like bangers.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's sometimes just like, that's why sometimes I joke on Twitter like, oh, y'all all make like library music and shit, man, whatever. But I don't say that to put people down, but
Right.
there is a thing. It's like, for some reason a lot of us just forgot how to make bangers, and that's something I wanted to make a point of for this project. Hot Out Here was really the only single, but a lot of those songs we could have just put out, like Indigenous Gems could have been a single,
Yeah.
like,
First 48.
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Facts.
that was I was going to talk to you about runs, great album runs, right? We always focus on this, right? When we're doing our weekly discussion show of like, what is the big run on this album? Like, what is the craziest, this takes over the world run? And I think on King Mighty 1, it was 5 to 10. It was like that ending pocket uh, of songs were really special and interesting. And King Mighty 2, the exciting part about King Mighty 2, we talked about, we think it's like 1 through 8. We think it's like starts right off the bat and it keeps going for like to like track 8 or something, where it's insane. So that's really exciting to have, because you get cool runs nowadays where you're like, 3 through 6, that was crazy. But starting it off right off the bat and just having it be like, what am I listening to? That was the excitement of Mad Money, I think, during that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, her comparison was Run the Jewels. And that's the same way I felt with Run the Jewels. I'm like, because I like Killer Mike. I heard Killer Mike. I heard LP. I like LP. But then together, it's like, yo, what is happening here? Like, I've never heard something like this before.
Yep.
No, they were activated. I mean, the single thing, we're talking about the singles, like, it's almost like in the pop world, they said, if it's catchy, it's got to be dumb, right? If it's catchy, it's got to be dumb because it'll sell better. When that's bad logic, because if the fact that it's catchy is what you need, what do you care whether it's smart or dumb? Let them be smart.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, the underground was like, the catchy stuff is dumb. I don't want to be mistaken for dumb, so I'm not going to do anything catchy. I'm going to be very serious.
Yeah.
I mean, you got people that like work seamlessly through like both paradigms. Like, in my opinion, I would say Kendrick Lamar, you know what I'm saying, work effortlessly with both catchiness and substance. And the Migos, like, in my opinion, I think the Migos is like one of the, like, today they have everything. They have lyrics, they have catchy hooks, and they have delivery, you know, surprise, you know, I mean, and like me saying that may be surprising to like a lot of underground heads and everything like that, but you got to give credit to where it's due.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was going towards the gym bumping, you know, like some old shit of them, Bad and Bougie and shit like that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because
No,
it just like the continuity of it, you know what I'm saying? It just makes sense, you know, but like you have some good people, you have some good talent that's in the industry, you know, like, but that compared to the I guess little wisdom tooth, you know what I'm saying? That just drop, you know, like saying the same thing over and over and over again because the way he's saying it is catchy and shit, and his voice is overly auto-tuned to, you know, be in sync with the melody of the beat and shit. Get out of here, man.
Yeah.
You know, what are we really talking about, you know?
Yeah, no, and you mentioned in the, you know, the freshman's freestyles, depressing and senile, and we always have like a show on the XXL freshman freestyle because, or not the freestyles themselves, but the XXL cover, because whether it's a good class or a bad class, it always seems to represent where pop rap is in this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
If all of them are junk, that's kind of where we are. There have been classes that are like crazy legendary, you know, J Rock and Freddie Gibbs and just crazy stuff.
I respectfully disagree, and here's why. Here's why. You know what I'm saying? Like you have people that work in those areas and everything like that, that works behind those desks and shit like that. They're not really searching for they don't really care for talent. You know what I'm saying? If they did, you know, they would have picked up, you know, they probably would have picked up me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who's to say, right? You know what I mean? But like the past 3 or 4 years, it's been lazy, bro. Like they just been picking up people who got the most followers, who is the most trending on social media and everything like that. And it's just based off streams that you can honestly pay for. You know what I'm saying? You can honestly pay for your fans, pay to have fans. Nothing wrong with marketing and investing in yourself. You know what I'm saying? But like, it has to be more than that, right?
Right.
You know, these people are not talented. And I don't care who this offend again, you know what I'm saying? But this is just my humble opinion. Like, that's why, like, you get bars like in freshman freestyles, they're depressing. You know what I'm saying? When you coming from, you know, when you used to seeing like, when it ain't holding shit to the like 2010 freshman freestyle. It ain't holding a candle to anything prior to that. And I'm not trying to sound like an old fossil or anything like that, because the point of the matter is that like these people that organize these things are not doing their job and like keeping the integrity of what that is. You know, if you're gonna freestyle, freestyle.
Right.
Don't get on the mic and be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, man, that's not what freestyling is. Like, I'm all for like things moving forward. I'm all for things, you know, the culture moving forward. I'm all for that, you know. And again, I don't want to come off like a hater or whatever like that. But at the end of the day, you know, there's things that started should be continued, you know, or some tradition should be carried, like freestyling, you know, being talented. Those things should carry.
I would say the last really, really good class, and not even really, but like the last solid class to me was 2016. 2016 had Davies, it had G Herbo, it had Denzel Curry, it had 21. I think Kodak. I think that was like the last one. I'm like, okay, there's a couple suspects one, but this one was pretty solid.
Oh yeah. 21 Savage, Uzi Vert. Yeah. I mean, and I was gonna say on Bad and Bougie, like when I first heard Uzi Vert on that guest feature, just flossing that disgustingly, like the just disgusting level of braggadocio, I was like, that's special. That's you need that dude. You need that Trey Young dude that everyone's like, oh, you know, like you need that dude. So I was like, that's a special dude, and you guys should elevate him. Like, it's up to the younger generation, right? Elevate, dude. Like, yeah.
When he came on, I'm like, dog, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like you don't really. Sometimes I really don't like listen or go for hearing other people. You know what I'm saying? Or actively listen. I'm not as active as Mighty Healthy because he, you know, he always try to stay in the newest trends and everything like that and try to figure out like new talent or whatever like that. So me, I'm just more so like just to my roots with the music that I already love and enjoy. But when it hits my radar, you know what I'm saying? That's when I like, okay, dive in. So when Bad and Bougie hit my radar, you know what I'm saying? And I heard like Uzi came in, I'm like, okay, dope. I see why people fuck with him. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah. No, it's and that was honestly one of the things that I love the most about hip hop is like, so I'll go to a hip hop show and underground dude Brzezowski, shout out to Brzezowski, he used to open like every hip hop show. And there'd be times where I wasn't feeling where he was or, you know, whatever, but he comes out and smokes the freestyle and we're all like, oh, you know, like it doesn't matter whether I like you or not. If you killed it, you killed it. And that's that.
That's all. I mean, that's what brings people together. You know what I'm saying? Like hip hop brings people together for that very reason, because like, you know, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're good, you're fucking good. You know what I'm saying? And like the thing that is becoming lazy is that you could be trash and still get embraced. That's my problem. Like that's just my problem with it.
I'm with you. I think it's fair. A theory to test on Mighty Healthy. I got a theory for you. So we have the theory is this, and I think it kind of came from reading a book called "The Beatles Killed Rock and Roll Music." It was great. But the premise was that when Radiohead becomes big, the problem with what happens is that rock and roll, the top tier of rock and roll, becomes music the public doesn't understand. And so it becomes disconnected. The avant-garde become disconnected from the popular audience, and rock starts to die off piece by piece. And he was talking about black music is always connected to what is happening, and it doesn't get kind of officious in that space. That was that author's opinion. My expanded take here is that when we're talking about music that, you know, is growing in the space, hip hop keeps alive and keeps vibrant because of the arguing. Because we yell at each other constantly. If you listen to the great 90s groups, they're all yelling at each other, talking about how bad rap music is. The Lost Boys are yelling at Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, right? Like,
Yeah.
there was no peace. There never was. And that's what kept it alive, kept it bubbling. So, and rock lost it because everybody was just too nice. Everybody just started being like, yeah, I like these guys. Yeah, I like that. There was no one was like, they suck. Get them out of here.
I would say, to add to that, it's just so, you know, when any act of any genre, when they you know, when the corporate interests are aligned and, you know, money's behind certain artists and they blow up, you know, it's then human nature to say, I want to copy that because that worked. And that's what happens with every genre. And the benefit of this thriving underground is that we don't have that. We don't have gatekeepers. We don't have things. We can own everything ourselves and do everything ourselves. And so, you know, we don't have to play by that rule book.
Right.
And so that is how you fix that problem.
Yeah, no, you like the industry, the kind of industry that was happening in the 90s is over, right? Like there aren't, you know, the huge Hype William videos. They're just nobody. It's not a thing. So everybody's some version of independent now, and we're kind of seeing better cover art. We're seeing there's more choices of great stuff out there. If you're keyed in, you can find really good stuff. But the problem is nobody knows who I'm talking about. Whenever they're like, who are you listening to? I'm like, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I've never heard of it.
And that's why we run ads.
Yeah. That's where the ads come in. That's where the ads come in, for sure.
Because that's what, like, people ask, like, yo, how'd you do? Like, I run ads. Like, that is what a labeled machine would do. Like, it'd run ads, you know, like.
Yeah. Like some people, like some artists may not be as good on like as far as like the music wise, but they will be the shit as far as like running their own ads and everything like that, you know. So, and then the vice versa, you got really good talent that's out there, but they don't know how to handle the business end of that, like running ads. It's the wild west, man.
Yeah,
more or less.
Mighty Other, when you talked about Drake, I've always said Drake is a B level rapper and Don Draper in the same package. That he's just a genius at marketing himself. There was this great hip hop producer at my work who was like, "Nah, there's people behind him that are really propping it up." I'm like, dude, then why aren't all these other Cash Money people as big? Like, he's not. He is Don Draper and this talent in one place. And that's why he is where he is. But it takes a lot for an artist to realize they have to start marketing themselves, and that rollout has to be a part of the collective design of the art.
Drake is really good with like rolling out and marketing himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's super talented at that. You know, like he will release like an EP or anything like that, and then like start the conversation all over again. Is Drake the top 5 of this time? Does Drake write his own lyrics? And you know, all this controversy and everything, he whips it and he uses it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I mean. And on top of that, he talks about it. You know, so that is the genius of Drake. You know, and like I don't have nothing bad to say about that man, because he's Like he's tried and he's battle tested. You know what I'm saying? He's tried and true through his career, and this dude is unstoppable. Nobody can stop him, and that is the mindset every artist should have. You know, similar.
Yeah, and you know, again, like my stance is I don't like everything he does. You know, I don't like a lot of things that he does, but for me, when it's time to rap, he does a good job. And for me, like that's all you really need to for me, you know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's fair. I mean, it's interesting because there's just so many. Yeah, there's a lot of people with like. I remember when people would be like, Kendrick Lamar is the best rapper alive, and I would say he's got the best team.
Yeah.
Of anyone. I thought at that time I was like, there's Ka, there's Rock Marcy, there's all these great people out there, but the team that he had around him helping people understand his vision was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
It was unbelievable, and they didn't even know. I wore a TDE sweatshirt to work for years. Nobody knew what it was, and they were asking me what it was, and they were Kendrick fans. They didn't connect. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, like it all comes in part of like having a team that believes the same thing that you believe, and that's what makes it believable. You know what I mean? Some people, for some teams or whatever, or for some artists, sometimes that belief isn't true, but you could tell Kendrick Lamar is who he say he is coming out of Compton. Because not only you hear it in his lyrics, you hear it through his belief system of that team. Like you know what you're getting when it comes to like when it comes to an artist at that level of who they're around and how they're planning on rolling this person out and everything, or how they're rolling themselves out.
Yeah, and maybe that's one of the advantages of the way the current business is set up. Yes, you're going to be independent for a while. You're going to put out a lot of albums where no one knows who you are. And then you're going to get people who discover you and love you like you're new, even though you've been here for years. That's annoying. But if you've done it for years, you have the advantage of those years, right? Like Schoolboy Q has albums most people have never heard. Absol has albums most people have never heard that are great. And Soundwave and Tay the Beast were working their sound through those to where they are now.
It's a snowball effect, because like the people that that's now hearing King Mighty 2, I'm sure they went back to our back catalog and was like, who is Mighty Healthy? You know what I'm saying? Let me hear Bad Ideas. Oh man, he's been on this level since prior to this, and then like it kind of coming full circle to that urgency you're talking about, because everybody that loves hip hop or whatever always want to be up to date on the newest shit, So when they hear like me rapping over it, they're gonna look at like my back catalog, like how did I not know this guy? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Since he started, So
and I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, bro.
And so to tie in your original point, that's why albums are important, because now when we have something new, they go back to all the back catalog. And because the kind of music we make, you're gonna sit and listen to the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
And so that's why having these projects are important. Obviously the initial buzz, the initial reaction is great, but what's also important is that 5, 10, 15 years from now, they'll find like this interview and like, oh yeah, those guys seem kind of good. I heard Embellishment one time, and then they go back like, oh, I didn't know they even made a second one. And oh, there's another one. Oh, there's this beat tape. There's this other album. He was on this song. That's why all that back catalog is important.
Yeah, no, and the sports metaphor is always like the name's hard to say until you're that good. You know, if
Yeah.
you watch early game footage, the commentators were calling him Brett Favre. You know, but when the yards started stacking up, they nailed that name.
Oh,
Yeah.
Brett Favre.
And it, Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's you become good enough, they figure out how to say your name. And that King Mighty 2 is that level where the first step I always felt like was I got to listen to you and never forget your name. So that when your next shit comes out, I'm like, oh, that's fucking, I'm taking that. Right?
Yep. And the mindset is like every album or every single, anything that an artist put out, that should be their anticipation. That's what they should want for the first time listeners to feel. I'm like, oh, I gotta listen to this shit.
Yeah. And shout out to you for building the King Mighty 2 website.
Appreciate it.
Stuff through there. Because some of the stuff, the Bandcamp bubbles, is gonna burst at some point. The vinyl stuff, it's gonna burst at some point. Running your own shop through your own space in an organized fashion is just
it's organized, it's professional, it's a very clean site. Because I do have a tech background. This is what I do when I'm not doing this. And to me that's important. I wanted to make sure that people can get vinyl on demand. A lot of these people they gotta wait 8 months, and it's coming from Czech Republic.
Right.
They gotta wait 8 months or it never comes, but they pay $200.
Right.
Like the other a couple weeks ago, I had to order ship out to Japan, and that was no problem. That. So just also the business side to me is important. To just making sure everything's clean, professional.
Easy to access.
Yep.
Because even though this is not a label, we are in operation still. This is a business. This is
right.
So it needs to be up to par.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's it. It all makes sense. And of those 3 albums we talked about, the Navy Blue, the Pray for Haiti, and King Mighty 2, yours was the only album that during the first listen, I bought merch.
Oh, nice. Appreciate it.
That's how hardcore that was. I was like at track 6, on the site. Oh shit. And so it was, one of those things. It's just an exciting ride. And it'll be interesting to see the next one, because you have that notion that your project should be 30% different from your last project. Something to that effect of you don't want to lose what you learned, right? You still want to bring that to bear, but you don't want to keep making the same shit. So there's got to be a 30% movement, change in the flavor. So I can't wait to see what that is, or what works out.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. We already started talking about the third one and kind of what that would look like, and find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, yeah, I'm with it. No, that's most of my questions. Just wanted to, keep a geek squad. In other words, I'm all about tech support. So, thank you for having this incredible project and keeping things moving and challenging the market. It is a weird market. I mean, it was it still weirds me out that people are on the internet saying Ransom is my favorite rapper, and I'm like, I've been listening to Ransom for years, and none of you were talking about him. Years. He's been a mixtape Hall of Famer for years, and now he's the guy for it's because he found the right relationships, right? He found
exactly,
and that set him off in a perfect space. And you guys are very lucky to have found this relationship. right?
Mhm.
Because some artists just, you know, it doesn't fit and they just kind of live in the inertia. So I'm very happy for it. I'm very excited for your progress. KingMighty2.com. Buy the stuff.
All the stuff. We got
All the
good stuff.
Yep. All the
Hats,
stuff.
CDs, from the slides to the glass joints, vinyls. You can get a
Yep.
bucket hat.
Get a bucket hat. Get a
Although
bucket.
the black ones are sold out, but you can get the white ones.
Get a bucket hat. Watch White Men Can't Jump in your KM2 bucket hat. And be thankful for Rosie Perez and the career of Rosie Perez. That's what I'll say. Those are my last words. You guys have anything?
I'll let you go first, producer man.
Yeah, man. Mighty Healthy Music on Instagram. Mighty Healthy _ on Twitter. KingMighty2.com. Buy all the stuff. Album is good. The best rap sequel ever.
Woo.
And that's it.
Incredible.
That's a good closure right there. Let me see if I can follow up.
Yeah.
At King Micah Inf on Twitter. They wouldn't let me finish out the rest of the Infamous. At King Micah Infamous on Instagram. And then also you can find me on through all streaming platforms, King Micah the Infamous. But it's just best to go to KingMighty2.com because it will lead you to the both of us.
That's awesome. Yeah, if you're Free Music Empire people, follow me. Stay with me. The next 4 weeks of State of the Game are booked up. I've got amazing people that'll be here talking about wild shit. And more guests are lining up for these conversations, and I just can't wait for it. So it's a very exciting time to put rap in your ear holes. Stay with us.